So, Flares here. I already cleared it all on stream. I memed on the boss encounter. No fucking. I was one of the first people to clear this hard mode. Deathless, no ecog within the turn limit. Probably could have done it faster if I was more aggressive, but I played really safe for my first clear. But, unlike other creators, which is zero of them, I cleared everything on stream, public, and I answer questions, unlike other dog shit. But let's continue. So let's talk about the gimmick. I'm not going to go over the exploit because most of the early clears were invalidated and deleted because of the Aegis fucking exploit, and there are a couple more exploits on the boss. So basically what the Aegis exploit is, you stun it, the boss doesn't have a second phase. However, people are like, oh, this is the first time. Yeah, any content creator that says this is the first time it happened, they don't play the game. They don't fucking play the game. It surprises me how little other people know about this game. So you can also do it with Thorazine boss. It's just more prevalent because it's a lot easier to do on this boss. But there are still more exploits. I'm going to wait and see if they patch out it. Because basically, you can skip this entire boss using a couple of other niche mechanics. But without further ado, let's go over the gimmick and how powerful it is. So those of you guys who watch my stream or the VOD, it's a long VOD where I go over the story briefly. And I clear normal and hard mode and answer questions and provide coaching while I stream as well. So, this is the main gimmick, Marionette. This is one of the stronger gimmicks in the game, and it buffs certain units beyond the pale. So some units are very good, and some units are left in the wayside because of how it works. Ultra got a nice buff, and Blue Will is very strong with this, and some Ultra comps. What Ultra comps? Particularly Quasar mechanics, not particularly Leap, at a downside of being a huge nerf. So, the huge nerf or buff is if you don't play it. If you don't play it. After the draw phase, Force played one random command card in hand. So this is the fucking nerf. So when you get it fully upgraded, you choose one of two cards. So the one of two cards can not be an Ultra card. However, if you exhaust the mechanic, you get to control the effect. What it means is after you exhaust the card, we mean playing it once, twice, or several times in a boss fight. The first card you played every turn now takes the effect. Now, this card does not behave like you did. I see some people like say fucking dumbass shit. So I'm gonna pick a random team and why it's strong for Quasar. It acts like Hamel. A lot of people don't notice, even though I said it a lot, even other creators, because they fucking don't know how to play the game. Because Hamel has one of the strongest effects. That's why he's S tier. But let's keep this in hand for now. Keep this in hand for now, and we're gonna go next. Because this, like Hamel, it's a stronger Hamel, but acts weirder than the Hamel Rouse. So with this, you can multi-trigger. Fucking... Okay, we're actually gotta go again. It doesn't... I don't want the random thing. I want to go in and just show you the... I need to start with a caster card. So, because it triggers Quasar multiple times, just like Hamel does. So that makes it very good for a caster team to scale faster. So why do I say Quasar? Because Quasar effects normally can't be triggered multiple times by stuff like Wanda Exalt or, Wakers to do that. So when you play Marionette, you play the Umbral, and it triggers Onyx Plume 3 times. It works exactly the same as Hamel. So let's look at our discard. You have to get rid of it again to control. So Hamel Rouse does the same thing if you +2 a caster card. You also get it. So this is very good for generating a shit ton of plumes really early on, or any Quasar proc effect. The only bad thing is you have to exhaust it, because the nerf to Ultra is that if you keep it in hand, you have to randomly pick one of two cards. And it cannot be a card you want to double or triple play. So this triple play effect is very good on that, and strong teams already that have high cost, high value cards. Now, what teams are particularly good of it? Well, Blue Will, for example, Blue Will. I'm going to intersplice footage over this. You see several times on stream, I was able to heal from 0 to 100% with G-Doll and Twill copy. And it works on Twill's copied cards as well. It is insane on Twill, especially Blue Will. Because if you copy a Waltz from Blue Will, you can play that card and triple play the Waltz to scale up your tentacle super hard. If you get a Shattered, you can get triple play to Shattered. So, coupled with Twill's increased stats over the original Awaker she copies, and her over, if you have her over result, the 40% multiplier, and if you have her new plus 12 effect, which all that combined makes it insanely powerful on Twill. And during the final boss, even though we didn't get to use it because we killed it regularly, I was trying to meme on counter. I probably could have killed it faster if I didn't focus on counter. I was able to generate 250,000 counter relatively fast because of how the card works. So that's one of the situations you can use it on Twill. Because, again, she copies cards and she uses better because her stats are average. And most Awakers have below average stats but good scaling cards on their kit. Like G Murphy, for example, have lower stats. When Twill copies her cards, she uses them better than she does. Same with Arachne. So Ultra Will also got a buff in that regards. So Twill is very good. Now let's go over everyone else that also can use it. G-Doll, anyone with a high card cost. Any unit with a high card cost can use this gimmick extraordinarily well. And it has good synergy with discard as well. So discard comp, for some reason, remains broken in story mode because of how it works with the discard and retain. I'll go over that now. I'll go over my other points later. So I keep delaying things. So why is this card very good? Because Lightning Retribution is technically the strongest tentacle card in the game because of this bottom multiplier. Target tentacle damage increased by 5%. And obviously the massive damage. So this also generates a lot of pilots and everything. Not only that, because when you discard, the fucking card triggers the fucking, this gimmick triggers the thing. Let me go in on discard so I can explain what I mean. Because discard helps you prepare really fast, especially with Cassia. So I'm going to go in real quick. This is not the team we use, it's just my D-tie team. So this is very weak, it won't be able to clear. But I'm just going to show you the synergy here. So this is one of the synergy. Anytime there's a new gimmick, this card takes an effect. Because the discard team is a lot stronger in story mode. Like a lot stronger in story mode compared to any other place it is in. So you get to see a lot of cheeses with Corpo and Arita in story mode versus D-Tide because of the gimmick. Because in D-Tide, you don't have gimmicks. It's just your Bear team and the discard team takes advantage of gimmicks better than almost every team in the game. And this goes to show this gimmick as well. Because for Marionette, for example, it has Prepare, Innate. So in order to get it cheap, you can just poof. It's still in your draw. It's one cheaper. And if you draw it again next turn, you can get -2 cost. So it makes it a lot cheaper. And in addition, you can exhaust this Marionette a lot faster. Like if you Marionette, and then poof, bunch of times, and now with all the draw in this card, the power of this card is that it has so much draw. If I drew the Ages, for example, I can draw this card again and play again. And if you're lucky, you can exhaust Marionette on the first turn. On the first turn or in 2 turns. Because with this card, especially with the Posse, you draw for your deck so fast that you can get rid of this Marionette to get the full buff as soon as possible. Get it online faster than other teams. So you're able to take advantage of the gimmick faster. However, Marionette is bad for certain teams. Like, as by bad, I mean the mechanic is not bad, but it doesn't take advantage of other traditional teams. Like, for example, Jellet. Jellet, for example, doesn't have any draw, and you don't want to random play a Bloodthirsty, because Jellet's damage comes from after exalting. So the random trigger effect of the fucking Marionette happens at the very start of the turn, or after the first card played. So what does that mean for a Jellet team? You almost can never take advantage of it in a damage-oriented mindset. You always take advantage of the card in a fucking scaling, supportive mindset with dies. Because your first card is likely not a Jellet damage card. Because you need to exalt, you need to do all the things to get the combo going. So it's not particularly good on a Jellet team. It's great on G-Doll. Any card is even good on Manchette because of the fucking 3 cost. Any unit has a really good 2 or higher cost card, the gimmick is broken. Any unit that has like really, really good, expensive cards. So let's go over the rest of Marionette. I can go over what else works with the mechanic. Again, this is going to be a gimmick video. The boss video is going to be a separate video. Because going over what works, spoiler, it's all Vortex and G Murphy are cheeses most of the bosses because it's reinforced. It actually works better than Arachne. Because Arachne is good, very strong. However, they put so many reinforced bosses this D-Tide compared to normal. Like, they obviously want to push down the new units more than usual. Because every time there's a new story mode that comes out, they tailor it to the newest units that come out. Like, this one, Arachne. If you use Arachne, you technically have an easier time because of the affixes and her mechanic. If you use Vortex, you have an easier time because Arachne and Vortex are the 2 units tied to this patch cycle. So they designed the bosses around these units. So the only time it worked really bad was with Clem and Dorazine. Reason why is because Dorazine was pretty trash even onto his chapter, the DR trigger. They want you to one-shot the units, but they didn't realize that he did not do enough damage to one-shot the units past the revives. Why do I say Clem was bad for chapter? She was atrocious on launch, one of the worst units ever released, and I still think she's fucking dog shit, disgusting bug alien who I want to fucking gouge her eyes out and put her on a pike. But she's still pretty bad onto her chapter because they give the bosses madness. And if the bosses gain madness, the answer is just counter. You don't want to remove their multi-hit. You just strength down them. There's so many strength down units. It's a non-factor. You just build a counter comp. Because whenever a boss gets madness, you want to play counter and just no-diff the boss. You don't want to remove it. So that's one of the reasons that doesn't really impact in a certain way. And the bleed effect is fucking atrocious. Like, but that's generally what they want to do. And also G-Doll. G-Doll is very good, but she doesn't really go into that. But that's the first chapter they really design around bosses and things. But again, I'm rambling too much right now. So let's go over the gimmick some more. So resonance effect. Prepare 1, again. This card takes advantage of this because you don't have to wait until you hold it in hand to get it cheaper. But you can just play it for 5 costs here for first. However, if you retain it, you get Key Flare. You don't care about this. You want to normally... If you have a good card, if you have bad cards in your hand, you don't want to dupe, and you're not redrawing your deck. Again, if you're not redrawing your deck the next turn, meaning if you have under 5 cards in your draw pile, you want to play this card always, because you want to redraw it and play again, hit the full buff. You want to exhaust it as soon as possible. But if you have more than 5 cards, you're not going to redraw it, and you have shit cards in your hand. Complete dog shit cards, 1 cost cards in your hand. You hold it in your hand for next turn until you get a juicy 2 or 3 cost card that synergizes well with your team, and then you play it to triple play it, such as G-Daw Heal, Memory Rondo, Pinion, Shattered, fucking, if you're a Dorsey user for some reason, Dirge. So any strong card you want to triple play, you save it until then. So this is the randomly forced. This is why it's bad for Ultra to hold it in your hand too long. You want to play it. So this is the DR. This helps on boss fight. You can run 0% DR. I run like 60% DR, and I didn't even need to run. I could have run 0% DR in a run. Because last boss I only used 1. And that was on purpose to heal up with Tawil. So, after triggering DR, will no longer force a command card. Instead, choose one card from your hand to play. So this benefits Marionette or DR teams without having to do random effect. However, if you activate it, you don't give a fuck about this. You don't give a fuck about it. It's just like exhausted. So symptom cards are another way to reduce the cost of it. Now, this goes into play very hard this chapter. Why? Because there's a lot of events. I'm going to write up a guide later when I'm doing the boss guide. I'm going to do the boss guide on stream later. I'm going to do a write-up. So, there are a lot of stages where you get to choose to get symptoms. They got all their old symptom events. So, like the money for a symptom, X for a symptom. So, that's take advantage of this. There's some symptoms you want on certain teams. Like, for example, on Blue Will, you want the Bone symptom. The weak symptom is decent. The Bone and weak symptoms are very good. The mana symptom and the draw symptom and the 3-cost symptom. They can take advantage of all the symptoms, and you're going to play them anyway to get the effects on the boss. So this makes the next command card cheap. So you play the 5-cost and you play a cheap cost. So this is very good. There's also another quote-unquote... I'm not going to go over it. It's too niche. So, after Exhausted, All Wakers, this is a one-use effect. This is whatever. I don't know why. This is pretty mediocre. The bottom effect. The top effect is broken. The bottom effect is pretty mediocre compared to the bottom tree of other gimmicks. So, that goes over the gimmick. But let me go over the other interesting wins and losses. Losses. Calf. Calf is particularly bad this chapter. That's why she's going to stay A tier, I think. Yeah, she doesn't take advantage of this gimmick really well because, remember, Calf is all about the Fiamma stacks. It's all about her Fiamma stacks. Calf can't take use of it. So the only one that take use of it is her supports. And her supports are nothing to write home about in order to who can take advantage of the effect. So, Calf is decent. However, she doesn't benefit from the gimmick more than other units. G Murphy obviously benefits from the gimmick very well because of her waltz. It's a 3-cost. Also, Abyssum, if you want to, triple play that, don't, because you're going to kill yourself. A lot of people kill themselves on it. And Miriam is another notable example. I know all of the blues because I play Blue Will. I know what cards benefit very well from this gimmick because I copied a card from Blue Will. So let's go over every unit in blue and how their cards affect because, again, I went over it. So, Shattered and Protective are very good. Protective is actually the most insane. If you triple play it, just watch my VOD or just watch how I did the boss and see how many times Protective hits and fucking destroy mobs. So, Arita, Power of Friendship, discard your deck way, way faster. You can get to reshuffle your entire deck. You get to redraw your entire fucking deck real fast. However, not that good. Goliath. Goliath, this is just a unit. Doesn't take advantage of the gimmick very well, but Goliath is one of the strongest units into this chapter. By Goliath, I mean Law of the Strong. Law of the Strong, I memed on stream. Some of the bosses gain 2,000, 3,000 strength. That's your strength now, my boy. That is your strength. It's not their strength anymore. It's your strength. Bye-bye, boss. Like, oh no, we're giving him strength. Oh no. Oh no, we're giving him strength. Oh no, I'm playing the mechanic wrong. Oh no, what will I do? Oh no, oh he has 1,000 strength. It's over, guys. It's so over. Oh no. Oh. Oh no, he's doing 3,000 something damage, and it's our strength now. It's our strength now. Nice try, boss. It's our strength now. You see that 1,000 strength you got? It's ours. Sorry. Yoink. You thought that was your your strength, boss? Cute. And he will die to our counter, or die to our tentacle, or die regardless. Yeah, that's Michael Lives Ito. Corpo, obviously lightning. You want to play the lightning? It's the best. Ominous, lightning, Corpo can take advantage of it. Lots of damage. So, regular Murphy. The Vortex is what you use if you want to use Murphy on this chapter. Why? Because all the mobs, I'm going to go over mob gimmicks, want you to crack them. I refer to them as cracking them on stream. If you don't crack them, they will buff their team as you do shit. Whether you play command cards or non-command cards. They will buff their fucking team and kill you and your family. Vortex can crack their asses right off the board. Very good. Mariam. Exalted. None of these cards matter, but the chosen one. If you copy it with Tawil, you triple play this, you get overexalt or near overexalt on any unit you want. It's great. She benefits a lot from this particular chapter. Celise. Garbage. There's not any cards you want to triple play here. Even Everlasting, there are better options. Celise does not go well in this. And Celise got kind of nerfed this particular chapter because they give you the free DR proc. So you already have a free revive with the 100% guaranteed DR. So this revive is most likely not going to be used. Rather than put Celise on your team, which makes it a little bit weaker, you want to put a support that gives you more stats or scale it faster. Because there are some stages that increase your max HP, which means more poison encounter. So, Pharaohs. Nothing to say. Only the Ocean is good, and only if you have enough tentacle damage. Not recommended. Sangha. Beauty's Mercy. Very, very good. Triple play this. You get a shit ton of tentacles. And shields. However, the Fragile. Let's talk about the Fragile. There are bosses that get Fragile. There's not a lot. There's not a lot this chapter. So anyone that has the spell Fragile is pointless. Tulu, very good in this chapter because of the spell weakness. That's why Caucus and Tulu are very good support units. Because weakness is going to be a thing that's going to be in every chapter. It's going to be a mechanic that's always going to be a thing. So you want to dispel it as soon as possible. Abyss Order helps you crack them because the mobs have shield as well. This is your main cracker. So 4-cost cracker, it is great. 2 got a big buff for 4-cost. Now let's go over Vortex. Fucking broken. The charge onto Will, I was able to overexalt onto Will every fucking turn. Watch my streams, watch the VOD. Overexalt onto Will every turn with just the Vortex charge. Now, let's go over the garbage. Reload. The Gimmick does not play well with Reload. Let me tell you this. It is fucking god-awful, the Gimmick on Reload. Do not fucking use the Gimmick on Reload. It is fucking god-awful. Only use it on charge. This is a Vortex Arachne chapter, but Vortex got the biggest glow up. She's probably the strongest use of this Gimmick because of how many reinforced units there are. So let's go over all the other main cops. 3 costs, weak. So Marionette buff, calf nerf for this story chapter. G-Doll, heal is broken, watch my stream. Nothing to write home about. However, not is good because of her exalt, not because of anything else. Because number prevent, unaffected by states such as strength, weakness, or vuln. There's a lot of vuln in this chapter. A lot of vuln. This is how you dispel vuln. Again, Ogier, not that good this chapter. Not enough for fragile bosses. And you don't want to, triple play any of his cards. Hamel, Memory Rondo, insane. Soul Witcher, insane. G-Ramona also is viable. Someone already did a clear using the base SR team in hard mode. So G-Ramona, big glow up because of predetermined strike. Riker, not that good. Take advantage of the gimmick. Because even if you multiply the showdown, unless you have a whale out Riker, not recommended. Lotan, not that good this chapter. Again, none of our cards you really want to triple play. Like, this is good, but you need to scale up strength first turn. You don't have enough strength first turn. Obviously, Doll is garbage. Karen is good. You don't use the gimmick on her. She's not buffed or nerfed by this chapter. You just don't play her. Nymph. Now, Nymph is in an interesting spot with a plus 12 Nymph. With Knell of Death, it is decent on this chapter to apply weakness and vuln. Alva, garbage as always. Lily is bad and good this chapter. She's bad in AoE mobs, and the hardest part of this chapter are the AoE mobs. Her strike to protect buff is insane for poison on a boss fight. On a boss fight, Lily is going to be very good in this chapter on a poison comp to multi-trigger the poison using strike to protect, guaranteed crit. However, again, this is single target. Some of the mobs that buff the other units are going to be in the back line. She does not provide any AoE, so you need to find AoE some other ways. And obviously 24 is very good this chapter because of the multi-played Frenzy Slash. Multi-play Frenzy Slash, if you have her, and her buff as well. 24 is quite decent, and Pandia, obviously, hot garbage. There's only one counter boss or one counter stage, really, on this chapter, and that's end and die stage. And to remove the counter, and you can just do it with the will, or just kill them with counter before they build enough counter to destroy your face. So, let's go over Carol and Ultra. So, Jellet, I would say is a nerf this chapter. I would say Jellet does not go in this chapter compared to other chapters, because again, the gimmick does not benefit her in any way. Dorosine, big glow up this chapter post buff, because he can easily crack. And his Dirge is a really good choice. So Dorosine got a glow up with Pikmin this chapter. Because again, you want to fucking kill the mobs as fast as possible. Zoo, very, very good this chapter. Poison Team, because of max HP gimmick increases. Some of the stages, again, 700 max HP. Very good. Thighs, obviously, always used. Aegis, because of the exploits. Like the fucking, not just the exploit that was patched, but with Aisha, Aegis is very good. Lei, obviously, garbage. The only thing you want to triple play is this. However, there are better options than Lei. You wouldn't use her this chapter at all. Hellet, obviously, unless you're using a strike-focused team, you wouldn't use her. Salvador, big glow up this chapter because you can survive. The enemies hardly scale compared to other chapters, and this is AoE. This is AoE, and you want a lot of AoE damage this chapter. Sorel is also decent this chapter because of her damage is Exalt, which is not cards. As long as you don't play cards for your burst, and as long as your burst comes from your Exalt, you don't trigger the negative effects of this chapter. Feint. I would say Feint is not particularly good this chapter. However, the only reason I would say so is because you get that free res regardless, and you want damage and crack. She just provides you with the health and survivability. However, you want to crack to prevent them from scaling. You want to crack because they scale quite fast, and cracking them is how you prevent them from scaling. Agrepa's garbage as usual. Uvosh is hot trash this chapter because his damage comes from playing a shit ton of Screeches, and every card you play buffs the unit. and it takes several cards to crack them. So you want big, strong, beefy cards. Now, Caster, Glow Up, Multi-Trigger. Caster Jenkins is broken this chapter because of the AoE on Jenkins. Able to crack post buff. Arachne, great, because her fucking Eternal Loom is not affected by Reinforce, so she ignores the chapter gimmick. That's what they designed her about. Now, units like Liz, Daff, pretty bad this chapter because they rely on either playing their cards. However, Liz Exalt is a way to bypass it. However, it's not enough AoE. The problem with it is that these are single target cards. Single target cards here, along with Daff, because you want to have AoE to crack the backline. That's the most important thing about this chapter. Cracking the backline. If you cannot crack the backline with AoE on hard mode, you're going to run into problems. So that's why Jenkins is very good this chapter. Now, Pollux is good on bosses this chapter. Easy to crack bosses. However, the final boss nerfs him because of his gimmick until you get rid of her gimmick. So you have to play through the gimmick in order to get rid of the gimmick. It's real annoying because the boss can only take 3% of their max HP damage per turn, and his gimmick is he plays one big hit. One big hit every turn. So you have to go through all the hoops of triggering the boss's gimmick. However, and for cracking purposes, you need to use Soul Searing. So you have to draw the Soul Searing, which is a lot harder than just doing the Jenkins. So, Wanda, hot garbage. The bosses don't attack enough. Counter is not the way to go for most bosses in this chapter. So, Horla doesn't benefit. Wanda obviously does not benefit. Daffodil does not benefit for shit. Playing Skull here multiple times, you cannot control it, is not AoE. So, Ultra and Caro are in particularly bad states this chapter because most of their meta teams don't really benefit compared to other glow-ups. Like Jellet does not benefit from this chapter as much. And for Ultra, Daff, Liz does not benefit. And Pollux is a bit harder to play because you have to get his AoE. Again, you have to crack. This is the sole point of this chapter. Cracking their backs. Cracking their backs over your knees and ramming your thick, hard cock into the units. That is the gimmick of this chapter. You want to crack their Ancient Embers every turn. So that's every unit and how the gimmicks works with some footage overlaid. See you next time.